today we're going to look at the 3-5 profile. It is a generator, sacral authority, and we have the cross of the vessel of love. So these are the things that we are going to focus on in the first part of the reading. So a 3-5. The third line is all about dynamism. It's the element of fire. It's grounded in the solar plexus in the body. So here we have dynamism, we have experimentation, we have interaction with the other, and we also have bonds made and broken. So the third line is not here to have an agenda. It's not here to live a consistent life with everything the same every day. I often say for the third line, throw consistency out of the window. It is absolutely not about seeking approval or attention from the other. It is actually to live without an agenda and to allow every day to be different and to allow that heart, that wholeheartedness to show you, where do I put my energy today? Where's my interaction naturally going to be today? What can I say fully yes to and be 100% there until this experience is over? That's very important for the third line. So here we have in the 3-5 profile, that's the personality. That's the thing we first see with this person, this dynamism, this person that is moved by fire. And then on the other side of the dash, we have the 5, which is the body and the unconscious, and really what comes through when we know the person a little better. And also it comes through when the person has worked through some of the challenges of the personality. And for the third line, it can be that the third line can often feel like it's making mistakes and that other people are criticizing or shaming. So it can kind of feel that it wants to do everything right, and it might start over on a white sheet over and over again because it comes to a point it can't stand failure. So it kind of cuts, like bonds made and broken, it kind of cuts and it starts a new sheet and writing a new story, but it doesn't actually allow the processes to end because of that feeling of failure or other people's criticism or expectation. So the third line can kind of stay in that, and then it's not going to be able to tap into the 5th line, that depth of the 5th line and the mastery of the 5th line. But that's what we want the third line to do, to not stay in the everyday kind of getting burnt of your own fire, but we want you to tune in deeper into the body and feel the 5th line. And the 5th line is about voice and vibration. So here we have a master, we have a leader that comes from the embodiment of your truth. People know that there is an impact in you, and you will often be put on a pedestal. This is going to be projected on you. People are going to expect a lot from you. And then if that third line doesn't live up to that, because the third line is here to experiment, not only to succeed, then that criticism can be even deeper. So that's kind of, again, what can keep the third line stuck in the third line themes. But there is a depth here for the 5th line to come through. And I would say anything that has to do with toning, with vibration, can make it come back into the body. Drumming, to really feel vibration in your body is important. And to share more than anything the vibration with people and see what's the deeper voice behind that third line dynamic personality. What's the deeper voice that wants to come through? And from that place, there is also the practical solutions of the 5th line, that you're here to work through the world. And as you walk through the world, just by your frequency, things are falling into place. They are distilling into understanding. They're crystallizing. And that takes us in, I would say, to the incarnation cross here, which is the cross of the vessel of love. So in the 15, we have the love of humanity. In the 10, we have the love of the self. In the 21, we have universal love. And in the 46, we have the love of the body. And all of these gates are in the G center. There are only 2 crosses. That's the cross of the Sphinx, which is the the 7, the 13, the 2, and the 1. That's one of the crosses in the G center, and the only other cross is the cross of the vessel of love. So here it is about identity. It's about direction, but more than anything, both the identity and the direction comes through knowing what love is and having all these different experiences, we could say, of love that we just said. It's different in each of those gates. And I wanted to show you, because we do have the astrology here, and I always think it's important to know where things come from. So the way that we see the incarnation cross, that we understand the incarnation cross, is that human design comes from astrology. So when you're born, this is the astrological wheel. It's a ray mandala with all the hexagrams on the inside. So when you're born, the sun, the circle with the dot, is going to be somewhere in the sky. So here it's going to be in Cancer, just on the cusp here. And it's also going to be in gate 15. And the Earth, of course, is always opposite the sun in the geocentric way of viewing astrology. So here on the opposite side, right in the beginning of at the end of Capricorn, you're going to have your Earth. In the beginning, of Capricorn, you're going to have your Earth. And the other part of the cross, so this is one part of the cross, 1510, like what we saw. And the other part of the cross, you're going to go backwards in the wheel. So from Cancer to Gemini, Taurus, Aries. Here in the beginning of Aries, you're going to have the sun on the unconscious side, 88 degrees before in the wheel, 25, and opposite that sun, you're going to have the Earth, 46. That's what makes up the cross. That's why it's called the cross. This cross is not a 90-degree cross. It's an 88-degree cross. That's why the decimal on this side is going to be a 3. The decimal on this side is going to be a 5. It's a human program that is not 90 degrees, which is interesting. And it's a generator. The sacral center is defined. We have this direct the tantric channel, the direct connection to the 15 here. This is both red and black. So this is going to be a very, very powerful channel. It's the wild woman and the rhythmic in the 64 doors. This is you following your natural rhythms. Goes very much together with that third line of not having an agenda that isn't yours. And you cannot have an agenda one week that is the same the following week. Every day is going to be based on what your body says. And you're here to be in love with being here in your body. You have the 46 is your purpose. So that's the thing that you have to accept the most and embrace the most, that you're grounded in the vibration, fifth line, of your own body. That's the reason why your soul came here. And for me, this is, when I look at this G center, is more than anything in the body. You have all the activations there are in red. 2 of them are also in black, but all of them are mostly in red. So it's the soul and it's the body. And for me, the 46 is also about sexuality. The 2 is also about sexuality. The 15 is also about sexuality, because they are meeting the gates on the sacral center there is the vitality and the life force. So when you have those arms, those gates that are grasping towards the other side, for me, it has to do with the tantric way of circulating energy. And the 10 is also a gate that goes to the sacral. It might be a bit less sexual in its nature, but it's still a tantric energy. It's still about energy circulation. So finding that both with yourself and with a partner is going to be super important in how the energy is generated for this generator. That's, I'm speaking about the generator. And here we have a generator, the single definition, which is all the, no, it's actually not single definition. Where do we have it? So here you can see this, it's a split definition, and we have this throat and the spleen are connected, and we have the G and the sacral. So it's super important to first do exactly what I just said, embrace this. And once this is embraced, this is going to be a superpower. So your depth and how deep and how wide you know things, how much talent you have, how your expression is in the world, both logical, spontaneous, and abstract. That's just a superpower that comes when you have embraced being a generator, being this tantrika that circulate life force from its pure state up to who you are, what love is in the world, and where you're going. So knowing that if you are feeling yourself just expressing and just kind of being in the instinct, intuition, and just expressing, there's something where maybe the world is going to love you and feel the master or the fifth line, but you are not completely going to feel regenerated. Your body is probably not going to be completely healthy. So always start with this part of the design that is your where your aura is. And even more, you don't have the emotional center defined. So when that's not defined, when we look at inner authority, we go directly to the sacral center, and then that becomes your authority. So here we have somebody as a generator. So the sacral center is defined, and you're also a sacral authority. So this becomes super important. You also have the 42 and the 3 here, which are the 2 gates that we call the nomad and the eternal child, which is the first gate on the wheel and the last gate on the wheel. And this is also very powerful. So we're here in Aries, and you see the 3 is the first one in the whole wheel. And then we go around and we come to the 42, and that's the last one, eternal child, and then the nomad that knows about cycles. Here we have a lot of activations. We have the MC, Chiron, Jupiter, then we have Design, Chiron, Moon, and Lilith. There is something extremely powerful with beginnings and endings for you. You're here to know about that. And I would say, together with being a 3-5, it's just so important that it doesn't always look the same. You don't want to live in the same season forever. Part of your learning here on earth is to understand the beginnings and the endings. And I would say we look here at the cultures on an everyday basis. You're here to be in the creativity of that eternal child. And then what you need are these cycles that goes together, I would say, with the rhythm of the 515 somehow as well. And there is something also with those endings with Lilith that might not have gone completely right in your last incarnation. And if we go to the Gene Key way of seeing it, we have expectations in the 42, we have detachment and celebration. So with that, there is something deeply, I would say, feminine with the Moon and Lilith that you want to understand. And I would say the feminine wants to let go of expectations because she's living in the natural cycler nature of life and existence. So it's not that because she's expecting every month that the moon cycle is going to be there, that it's there. It's like it's part of nature. So I would say, understanding that expectations are not the way of living, but celebration is. That's what the Moon and Lilith are asking you for. And I would say we'll go in part 2 more like of the business aspect, but the MC here is also expansion. Like, it's very interesting to have Jupiter, which is the culture sphere, Chiron, and the MC, which is your professional life. We have them in the 3rd gate, and they are in Aries. They are in the cusp Aries, Taurus, but so there is a lot of fire here, and the fact that you kind of have to heal the wound of what might feel chaotic, of what might feel like you're not living up to your expectations. That's what needs to heal in order for you to completely expand in the way that you can work in an everyday life, in a way that is like the eternal child, that is innovative. And that's what you're here to share with the world. Just there, I feel like we have a business kind of reading, but I'll do a part 2 as well. The last thing we have for this part 1, the more basic part, is what we were saying about the sacral authority. So with an open ego and open emotional center and open root, I would say pressure from others go together with what we said about expectations. You're not here to make things nice for others and to prove that you're good enough. You could spend a whole life in doing that and think about what others are expecting, or think that they're your thoughts when there are things about what you should do, and go over it over and over again. So we really wanted to tune into that 3-5. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to be an expression of love, and you don't have to take anybody's pressure for anything. And you're not here to avoid conflict and confrontation. You're here to be you. You're here to be a tantrika. You're here to share your versatility and your depth with other people. And that comes from when you're first deeply home in your body. Okay, that's part 1. Thank you.